Hi, my online scholars. Happy Friday. You should be delving into some excellent literature this week by Charlotte Perkins Gilman, which is one of our first primary authors. Then looking at the weekly itinerary, you should be delving into some Theodore Dreiser and his piece called Sister Carrie, and then finally Edith Wharton's The Other Two. So, as you read these texts, I really want you to focus on the naturalist elements. You should be able to find all the naturalist notes within this folder, which is within the week 2 folder. Feel free to also go to course information. Actually, we'll come back to that. Course notes. Under course notes, it would be really helpful if you take a look at the American literature from 1865 to 1914. So make sure that you take a look at those notes. You do some extra research on the naturalist time period. Read the background information that's in your text, and then begin to read the selections for this week. Now, I would definitely urge you as well to go into this week's folder, week 2, and instructional materials, and read why Charlotte Perkins Gilman actually wrote the yellow wallpaper. It's very fascinating. If you don't read her rationale for why she wrote it, you will have a hard time understanding the backstory. All right. She comes from a very independent and liberated family. She had a lot of strong females in her household, and she really had a hard time after she got married and had her first child. She suffered from postpartum depression. So the yellow wallpaper is not meant to be taken literally. You get a sense of this a protagonist whose name is Jane, and you get a sense that she's going through a lot mentally. All right. This story is to basically document Charlotte Perkins Gilman's experience with what they called at the time the rest cure. So this was the therapy that doctors prescribed for females who were, enduring this mental illness, which they didn't know what it was. We know now it's postpartum depression. But the rest cure was basically just that. It was that females would just rest. They were not allowed to write. They were not allowed to do any household chores. They were not allowed to work. So Virginia Woolf suffered from this, and also Charlotte Perkins Gilman. So in the yellow wallpaper, we follow this journey of a woman who is, kept in this room because her husband, who is a doctor, thinks that is the best way for her to get better, is to stay locked up in a room, isolated. But we know after reading the selection that it deteriorates her and she goes mad when she becomes fixed on this wallpaper, and she notices that there are people living. Now again, this is her mind, but she hallucinates, and she sees women that are independent. So I want you to really think about how this story serves as a metaphor, and what is the lesson that Charlotte Perkins Gilman is trying to send. What is the statement she's trying to make? Okay, so it's very important that you click on that link and read why she wrote the yellow wallpaper. I also want to talk to you about discussion board forums and my expectations for you as you post on the discussion board. So if you go to course information, you'll see that there is a discussion board participation rubric. Please download that, because that's where I lay the framework and the groundwork for what I'm looking for when you are actually posting. Okay? To receive 100%, you must cite textual evidence from each story that we read that week. So you must cite multiple texts and relate to specific examples to support your claim. You must collaborate. So it's crucial that you ask questions of your peers and you respond to your peers in a way that furthers the discussion. Just saying, I see where you're coming from, I know what you mean, I really like what you said here, or I didn't understand that author either, is not helping to further the discussion. And I'll show you some examples. And then finally, I am looking to see that you're citing properly and you're editing your post thoroughly. This is an English class, so while I know that we're not all English majors, you are at the college level, so my expectations of you are high. I would urge you to to write your initial post within a Word document. That will allow you to do a spell check, a grammar check, to read it over, and then you can copy and paste it into the discussion board forum. All right. If you do not cite textual evidence, you will not receive full credit. Please note, it is crucial that you cite textual evidence from every piece of literature that we delve into during the week. Okay. Let's just take a look at an example. So if you go, or I go, I'm going to show you, this is an exemplary, okay, an exemplary example of a discussion board post in response to Charlotte Perkins Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper. So she addresses the question. This student actually cites various lines of text. Notice how she does cite properly as well. And then she also addresses Wharton's The Other Two, discusses the commonalities that she sees in technique, in theme, and then she moves on to Dreiser's piece as well. And then at the end, she poses a question to help further the discussion. That is what I am looking for from your discussion board posts. I'm looking to see that you answer the initial question, you give an overview of some similarities or commonalities that you see among the other works, and then finally that you ask a question that poses a deeper question or an extended thinking question to further the discussion. All right. Please know that I do look at your discussion board posts with a critical eye, and I am a little more lenient in the beginning, but as we move into week 3 and so on, I will be much stricter. So please take a look at some of the samples. I will post those in the week 2 folder, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to call me or email me. All right, thanks and have a great weekend.